Brandon Novak, professional skateboarder who rose to fame when he was just a teen.
But his life, it took a lot of turns, one of them really dangerous when he lost everything due to his heroin addiction. He is 3 years sober and he's helping others on the road to recovery.
He has a new book. It's called Dream Seller. It's a graphic novel that tells the story of struggle and redemption, and he's here now to tell us more. Thanks for coming in.
How are you? Thanks for having me.
So good. Man, you had it all. You were, right on that edge. You're living in the world of Tony Hawk. Skateboarding is huge. And then what happened?
What happened is that the disease of addiction doesn't discriminate, right? From Yale or jail, the White House or the outhouse, the results are all the same. And 1 out of 5 people will be affected. Today in the nation, 179 people will die as a direct result of an opioid overdose. That's worse than Vietnam War. It's worse than the peak of the AIDS outbreak. And the sad thing is that all these deaths are preventable. My mother was a nuclear physicist on the board of Mercy Hospital. My brother is an attorney in the White House, practices pensions and benefits. I'm the first ever skateboarder to be endorsed by Gatorade, traveling with Tony Hawk in those movies, Jackass, broke box office records, New York Times selling author. At the end of all that, despite all those accolades, I had woken up from being on life support for 7 days. I'd been in 13 inpatient treatment centers. My mother had bought me a plot. People had taken life insurance policies out on me. My mother had nothing left to give. She had sold 3 homes to financially pay for me to go to 2 treatment centers. She simply went to God with one prayer. That prayer consisted of, God, please cure him, or kill me. I can't take it anymore.
Wow.
Now today I stand before you with over 3 years of continuous sobriety, and what I'm here to do is let people know that the disease of addiction is not a death sentence. Your history does not have to dictate your future, and as long as you're breathing, it's never too late.
You have these 2 books, 2 of them now, because we highlighted the
Yeah.
one book, and then the next one is a graphic novel, which is the Brandon Novak Chronicles.
Yeah.
And there's never been anything like this, and it deals with addiction.
Yeah, what I'm trying to do is, because they say, how do we lift the stigma? How do we lift the stigma? Fortunately or unfortunately, depending upon one's perception, the stigma is lifting because the death toll is rising. So what I want to do is just make addiction more of a conversational piece. Like, talk about it at dinner. You know what I mean? Like, talk about it. However, because in the advocacy world, or recovery for that matter, there's no margin for error, yet it is impossible to do perfect because we're not in an epidemic, we're in a pandemic. So I'm a big fan of doing something, and if something doesn't work, then we learn from that something and do something else. So this is just another format to kind of like get people talking. Plus, with where we're at in this day and age, people's attention span is like slim to none, and Slim's out of town. So if I could do 5 short stories, put art to it, bring the story to life.
Well, graphic novels are really, really big right now.
Yeah.
Super important. So when you had these books, did you want it to be for the caregiver or the person who might be dealing?
What I really wanted it to do was, I'm really descriptive in these books, and I'd write 5 pages about how you sit, how you look at me, how your head's cocked to the left. Before I even say your name or the importance of your story, I wanted the reader to feel like they were in my shoes, to kind of let an outsider's perspective understand why we do what we do and the things that we do to get high. And I don't want to do it, but I don't know how to not do it. It's not personal, it's just business.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so amazing to take somebody into that mindset, because if you haven't been there and you don't quite understand it, you look at somebody like, oh, well, just quit. Why can you not quit?
Yeah.
So to take them into that mind space, I think, is so key. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for making a difference.
So one of the things I do is I give out my personal phone number for people to call me if they want help. And I'd like to do that. It's 610-546-2608. And if anybody wants help, call me, and we'll figure out a way to get them the help that they need and deserve.
Amazing.
You are really personally into it, Brandon. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Brandon's book, Dream Seller. Head to BrandonNovak.com. You can keep up with him on Facebook, and then he just gave the number.
Call me, 610-546-2608, please.
Thanks for making a difference.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. All right.